In combat sports, the bond between a coach and a fighter is built on absolute trust. For over a decade, Gillian Robertson relied on that quiet, intimate support from her head coach, Din Thomas. He had guided her career since she was just 15 years old. That trust was put to the test on August 15, 2026, at UFC 330. Robertson suffered a devastating unanimous decision loss in her strawweight title co-main event against Mackenzie Dern, absorbing a massive physical and emotional toll over 5 grueling rounds. This is the exact moment a fighter needs their coach the most. But instead of remaining backstage to console her and help her process the defeat, Thomas immediately packed up and relocated to the post-fight broadcast desk. Sitting under the studio lights, Thomas abruptly announced his permanent retirement from cornering. He told the audience that he had taken Robertson as far as she could go, publicly declaring that she had hit her absolute ceiling as an athlete. He abruptly quit on live national television. The pupil he had mentored for 10 years received no prior warning and no private conversation, just a sudden abandonment broadcast to the entire country. Why does a lifelong mentor prioritize a broadcast desk over his bleeding athlete? This choice reveals a tension between the cage and the camera, suggesting that a coach's loyalty now faces a powerful new competitor. That night, Thomas operated under 2 incompatible titles, head cornerman and TV analyst. A cornerman's directive is fierce loyalty, protecting the fighter physically and psychologically. An analyst requires the exact opposite. Networks pay analysts to generate compelling narratives that create spectacle and drive viewership. There is an undeniable friction here. You cannot fiercely protect an athlete's private vulnerabilities while simultaneously dissecting them for public entertainment. And when the financial incentives of a massive television network enter the equation, the corporate weight naturally overpowers the quiet duties of a coach. Looking at the incentives, Thomas didn't simply fail his duties as a coach that night. By throwing his own fighter under the bus to manufacture instant drama, he successfully executed his mandate as an analyst. The combat sports community was outraged. Prominent peers like Sean Strickland publicly condemned Thomas, openly labeling him a terrible coach for abandoning his fighter when she was most vulnerable. Facing intense backlash, Thomas went into crisis management. On the Deep Waters podcast, he issued a highly emotional apology. He called his own behavior despicable, irresponsible, and admitted he selfishly stole Robertson's moment. But on August 18th, Robertson officially rejected that apology. She broke her silence through journalist Ariel Hawani, revealing she ignored Thomas's private messages after seeing what he was saying off the air. She leaked private texts where Thomas brazenly admitted the entire public stunt was orchestrated for metrics. He wrote, "Me doing that publicly was more so for TV purposes and ratings." A second message proved his complete lack of private remorse, showing his financial security was his only real concern. He stated, "I don't think there's a conversation to be had. I'm good with everything. The people who sign my checks are cool." Robertson realized the tearful podcast apology was entirely hollow. It was a calculated performance designed strictly to manage the PR fallout and protect his lucrative broadcasting career. When a coach is forced to choose between a fighter's trust and a network's approval, the broadcaster inevitably consumes the mentor. Robertson's current reality is stark. She is severing a 10-year relationship, moving past her injuries, and entering her next grueling fight camp entirely alone. This creates an immense disadvantage. Right as she looks to rebound from the biggest loss of her career, she is being forced to rebuild her entire tactical and emotional support system from scratch. This betrayal points toward a broader corporate fight ecosystem, where these overlapping, conflicted roles are a feature, not a bug. The promotion itself actively encourages these arrangements to ensure a steady stream of content. As long as networks financially reward performative drama over quiet loyalty, fighters will remain vulnerable to being sold out by their own corners. Commodifying these relationships erodes the absolute core value of martial arts. It replaces unwavering loyalty with whatever narrative generates the most clicks. In the modern collision between martial arts purity and broadcast ratings, the corporate spectacle rarely loses. And the athletes bleeding in the cage are the ones who always pay the price.